Attention chiropractors, slayers of subluxation, unleashers of the imprisoned impulse. I am Dr. Anthony Pellegrino from ChiroEdge, and welcome to this week's episode of the Chiropractic Research Breakdown, where each week we break down the most relevant chiropractic science and philosophy to empower you with the ammo and certainty necessary to change your community from the inside out. Hey guys, it is Dr. Anthony Pellegrino from ChiroEdge, and just wanted to quickly jump on here and kind of recap some fun stuff that had happened this week, and some fun things that I learned. I'm here in the office getting ready. My team's about to come in, so you might hear the doors opening up and stuff like that in the background, which is all good. But this week, really fun. We launched our group page on Facebook called Facebook's SUBLUXATION SLAYERS. So if you are not in that, make sure you get in that. It's awesome. And some of the videos that we had made last week went, I guess not viral, but we'll call it Chiro viral, right? Because Chiro math is a thing. So they went Chiro viral. And there's been a lot of really good positive comments and feedback, which is awesome. It's really cool to see people sharing, loving. Specifically, I'm referencing the Is Subluxation Real video, which is awesome. Which is a clip from one of our last podcast episodes where I talk about how subluxation, basically the definition without using the word of subluxation, is right in Guyton's textbook of physiology. So of course, because pissing off metapractors for me is kind of like a pastime and a hobby that I very much enjoy, I put some ad dollars on that to make sure that it's not only going to reach my circles, but it's going to reach a ton of chiropractors, a lot of which don't necessarily agree with or believe subluxation. I think that's really fun for me. So because of that, a lot of people have kind of come back and started commenting. And I had one interaction with a chiropractor student, I don't know who he is, and it just really opened my mind into where this difference might be between the factions in our profession. So in the Is Subluxation Real video, which is where I talk about how subluxation is right, defined, the disaffrontation theory of subluxation is defined right in Guyton's textbook of physiology. So this guy writes, can you provide, and I'm going to read it here, it's in my book, I wrote it down. Can you provide any real evidence of existence of chiropractic subluxation? I have yet to see any. So clearly this guy doesn't follow my work or doesn't actually read research, because there's tons, or maybe he just chooses to ignore what he sees. So there's already a disconnect. So rather than, what would someone in the profession usually do? Somebody challenges our worldview, challenges subluxation, and we're like, well, blah, 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 well, medicine has the placebo and medicine doesn't work, and we freak out, and it's like, that doesn't help anybody. Or we go and we reference some study or some case study or something, or talk about something we saw in our practice, or how many patients we see, or something that just does absolutely nothing to actually answer the person's question, or something we provide evidence that can easily poke 1,000 holes in, right? Some really small sample size, something that doesn't show statistical significance. So rather than just go and start this war and start, going around in circles and circles and circles, I just want to clarify, right? Because there's tons of evidence out there. So I'm trying to figure out why is there this disconnect? So I asked the guy, what would you consider to be real evidence? And his answer to me completely explains our whole problem. The answer to that question, what do you mean? What would you consider to be real evidence, is evidence that establishes a clinically relevant cause and effect relationship between correcting a subluxation and curing non-musculoskeletal disease. Here we go. So evidence that establishes a clinically relevant cause and effect relationship between correcting a subluxation and curing non-musculoskeletal disease. So two points here. The first thing, what is this guy actually looking for? What are the metapractors? What is this faction of the profession looking for? What evidence would they need to see that we could provide in order to, what is the level of evidence that they need to see in order to actually be like, oh, subluxation is real, let's correct subluxation. So they want to see an epidemiological study. Okay, they want to see an epidemiological study in which we compare, let's take any symptom. Okay, reflux. Okay, let's use reflux in kids. Okay, they want to see a large scale study, epidemiological study, that looks at individuals who are subluxated, okay, versus individuals who are not subluxated, okay? They want to see that individuals are subluxated, have a statistically greater risk, have a higher percentage of this risk of reflux than individuals who are not subluxated on a large scale, okay? So what that basically means is that every person who is subluxated should have reflux, and nobody who is unsubluxated should have reflux. So first of all, that's not gonna happen. It never has, and it never will. First off, chiropractic utilization is so low, so finding a control group that's not subluxated is impossible. It's not, because even like think about chiropractic subluxation. Well, how many chiropractors don't even believe in subluxation? So if they can't even believe it, obviously, how can they correct it? So it's like, how do we analyze and show that this group of people has subluxation versus this is not? Even after that research is published, we can prove it. But then what are we going to be able to do? Because individuals who seek chiropractors tend to make positive healthcare decisions right? Is it isn't the fact that they eat better? The fact that, what percentage of them take essential oils? Like, what is actually the thing that changed reflux? So that type of study just doesn't exist. It's just not ever going to happen. So they're creating this thing that they need that's just literally impossible to test. First of all. Second of all, and quite frankly, the more important part is what my response was. Remember, the question was evidence that establishes a clinically relevant cause and effect relationships between correcting subluxation and curing non-musculoskeletal disease. Here's the more important part, and it's a little bit secret for you guys. Correcting subluxation doesn't cure disease. Okay, so I whispered, I don't know if that audio is going to come out. Correcting subluxation doesn't cure disease. It doesn't. It's not what it is. That's philosophically, scientifically not accurate, not relevant. So my response was, correcting subluxation doesn't cure disease. So no, I don't have any evidence. So of course somebody goes on there and posts the Dick Holt study, which is great. But like, if you're trying to argue with somebody who has like this level of evidence they're looking for, I mean, they're gonna poke 1,000 holes in it. So like that just ended up going around in circles. But it was such an important thing, because what I realized is that if that's what they want to see, research that shows that it can cure musculoskeletal disease, they don't actually understand what a subluxation is. They don't understand what we as principled chiropractors believe what subluxation is and what chiropractic is. Because what we believe is that correcting a subluxation improves the adaptability of the nervous system so we can better adapt to and handle physical, chemical, emotional stress. And then when those things overload the system, oftentimes symptoms come about. Right? There's no such thing as a reflux adjustment. There's no such thing as a neck pain adjustment or a back pain adjustment or a headache adjustment. All there is correcting interference, subluxation in the nervous system and letting the body improve and heal. And we have data to support that that's actually what happens. But for no reason do I have somebody who's subluxated. I'm like, they're going to have reflux. Right? I see a T6 adjustment. I say, that person's going to have asthma. Like, that's not what this works. And that's what they think. That's what they think that we think, because that's the medical model. And they just don't get it. And they don't understand what it is that we're saying. So rather than just go try to, and like you're trying to talk Japanese to somebody who speaks like not Japanese, it's crazy. Like they're not thinking, their worldview is completely different. It's not a treatment. It's not a therapy. What we do is we allow the nervous system to adapt better. So I bring out, I'm like, hey man, have you ever been on PubMed? Have you looked at heart rate variability research? Because the data shows is that with improved adaptability of the nervous system, oftentimes there's a huge list of issues that even the medical community and the pharmaceutical community know that by improving adaptability of the nervous system, by improving balance between the sympathetic and parasympathetic system, that individuals are less likely to have these issues. It's not saying that every person who has good adaptability of the nervous system won't have these issues, but they're less likely because their body's functioning better. And we have tons of studies that show that the chiropractic adjustment does improve the adaptability of the nervous system. So like, I don't really see where the disconnect is here. And there really was no response. I don't know. And it's like, man, have we done a good job explaining what it is that we do to the people who politically are trying to shut us down? I mean, have we? Or do we have a ton of people going out there and all they do is say chiropractic cures ear infections, or chiropractic cures reflux? Does even our principled side, do we reject allopathic medicine so much that not even an emergency type situation is it good. Where is this disconnect, guys? Once again, does subluxation and does chiropractic cure disease? And I honestly think that the answer is no. And I believe that the only reason that question would be asked in the first place is by somebody who actually doesn't understand what it is that chiropractic is, even if they're a chiropractor. So just kind of think about that, guys. And when you see people in your school, in your community, on your feed who are rejecting the whole notion of what you say, don't come back and tell them, oh, did you know chiropractic boosts immunity by 764% using a study that was published in 1920? Because it doesn't matter. Relate to them where they're at on a worldview stage and say, hey, man, we believe the same things. We both want to see people that get better. There's research that I know you look at because it comes from Big Pharma and to you, their guide, that shows that improvements in the adaptability of the nervous system relates to improvements in quality of life. That's not negotiable. Nobody who has an actual brain thinks that that's not true. But chiropractic, by correcting aberrant proprioceptive information going from the spine to the brain, which is really what it is, by correcting the cause of that, it's going to improve adaptability of the nervous system, which we have not only clinical studies on, but literally thousands of offices around the country use thermal SENG and HRV to actually prove the changes in adaptability of the nervous system. And all we're saying is that we're getting the body to better function, and that when it functions better, we're probably less likely to have these problems, right? Yes, I see people with bedwetting in my office all the time who see significant changes with chiropractic, but I'm not guaranteeing that. And I guarantee it, and I'm telling you that not 100% of people who step foot in my office with bedwetting get that symptom be better. Their quality of life always improves, right? Their quality of life always improves, but it's never about that individual symptom. And that's where the disconnect is, guys. So think about how you're communicating with your family, with your community, with other chiropractors. Hold that with you. And instead of just having a defensive reflex to these people who challenge you and challenge us and what we stand for, well, let's do better and let's ask them what they mean and let's explore that. And let's see how we can relate to them. And then let's bring them closer to our side in our understanding. Because the thing is, it's subluxation, when you actually understand what it is, neurologically, componently, it's not a matter of it exists or not. It's there, it's proven, it's real. Dr. Anthony Pellegrino from Chiro Edge. Join the Subluxation Slayers group. I'll catch you all soon.